welcome to the 2022 Gran Turismo World Series. It is round one, our first time this year for the Nations Cup. We're on a new platform of Gran Turismo 7. The drivers today are going to be competing at the Watkins Glen circuit. We're very much looking forward to this one, Jimmy, because of course it is all about the drivers here today.
That's right, yeah. Of course, last year we had a fantastic showdown between Miyazono and Go. They're both back today, and what is sure to be an amazing race. But first of all, let's check out our schedule for this year. Of course, coming up at the end of the month, we have our first World Series Showdown event in Salzburg, our first live event in over 2 years, so really looking forward to that. We have events also dotted around September and October as the World Series comes to its conclusion, and then the World Finals in November at Monaco. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's never a bad thing going to Monaco, is it?
Absolutely not. No, it is going to be so exciting to welcome back spectators and competitors in person for the first time in a couple of years after what has been a very tricky time in the world. Here, though, are the race details for today. Watkins Glen is the venue. The brand new Suzuki Vision Gran Turismo Group 3 car is the car they will be competing in. You can see racing hard, medium and soft tyres available for them. Single lap qualifying, which took place here as well, and 15 laps for our drivers to compete with, and a grid start. So that is going to be a hugely exciting mix of circumstances for our drivers to be competing in. And here are the drivers and how they will line up on the grid. Of course, we have to welcome back the 2021 champion, Valerio Gallo.
Yeah, of course, Gallo, a bit of a high after last year, but also, of course, some form to Takuma Miyazono, who was very fast yesterday in the Manufacturers' Cup, so watch out for him. Baptiste Beaudoir in there, Jose Serrano, Benelli, Hernandez. I mean, look at this field. It is absolutely stacked. We have 3 past Nations Cup champions in here. It's too close to call.
It really is. Yeah, Angel Enestrosa for Chile is back this year, as well as the Hungarian Patrick Blažej, Mangano, Fraga, Matt McEwen, the Kiwi, the Aussie Andrew Lee, Ryota Kokuban from Japan, Koke Lopez, Kanata Kawakami, and Andrew Brooks. 16 drivers ready to take to the grid for this one. We are really excited to see what they're going to be able to do, of course, in that single lap qualifying session coming up for you very shortly, but also in the race here at Watkins Glen as well. And we caught up with the drivers to get their thoughts ahead of the first round for the GT World Series.
やっぱり GT スポーツの時だと、バレリオが本当最後の、シーズン2021年は本当に速くて、正直ちょっと手が届かないような存在だったんですけど、GT7 になって、またそのドライバーの、速さっていう部分もまた変わってくると思っています。
It is a new game with new physics, with new everything, and I guess some people that were fast in the past may not be so fast, and vice versa. So I guess, and I expect really good races from everyone.
This is my second event, first one of GT7, so I'm very proud of that. And it's going to be a very tough event because there are the best of the best. But I am also very proud because I am the only one that is representing Guatemala and the first one.
La verdad que me siento muy fuerte con esta nueva temporada de Naciones. La verdad que todavía me cuesta un poco cogerle el rollo al juego porque al ser nuevo todavía me falta un poquito, pero me veo bastante fuerte.
So qualifying then, and we start off with Andrew Brooks. He's going to show us around the circuit in this Suzuki Vision Gran Turismo. Down a T1, they're braking fairly late. It's a downhill braking zone, so don't brake too late or you might end up locking tyres. We go through T1. Very important, as we've said before, for your lap time around here, because if you get a bad run out of there, you're going to have a bad run all the way down to the first braking zone or second braking zone of the lap with the bus stop. So coming around now, taking the tightest line possible. A little bit out of shape there on the curb, but didn't lose too much speed. Now try and spot your braking zone on the left. Going to brake just at the 300 marker, throw the car almost at the barrier on the inside, just aim to miss it, and then try and carry as much speed through that high downforce section. Now, what about mechanical grip round here as the downforce starts to bleed off a little bit through this long right-hander, and then we go downhill. Look at the camber of this corner. You want to tuck the car into the inside, and you see Andrew Brooks there a little bit wide there. Had a nice late apex, but I would have been a bit tighter in there personally. Now we come up to going back uphill again, and again You want to be on the inside for as long as you possibly can, then sort of drive out towards his Warren exit. The grass does sort of come to meet you there a little bit, so you've got to be a bit careful running wide there. And now we go over this little crest and back downhill to yet another downhill braking zone. The corners here are actually fairly similar, but the elevation changes as that goes on, so it gives you a fresh challenge at each part of the circuit. A little bit wide there on exit. That I think he just avoided track limits, and again another late turn in here. You don't want a bit of an early turn in because of the road falls away for you to the right there. You're going to hit the barrier if you're not careful. Now 2 more corners to go, both quite quick. Left-hander first, you can use this curb on exit. A little bit of understeer there through Brooks, for Brooks there through the left-hander. For the right-hander though, a little bit neater. Not sure what time it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be pole today.
As he comes over the timing line, it is a 1:43.380 then for Andrew Brooks, but Kanata Kawakami a second quicker into the 1:42s. Brilliant lap time there for him. Lopez has dropped a bit of time in the penultimate sector as he comes to the line. What can he do? It's second quickest. It's the outside of the front row for now.
So yeah, we're seeing that Brooks' lap was a little bit messy, and we see that now on the times as he's plummeting down the bottom there. Kokubun does go third with a penalty, so he'll lose that time. McEwen there, nice time from him, really nice time for a New Zealand driver there, coming second provisionally. Igor Fraga up on everyone at the moment. Will he go provisional pole? He does, first person into the 41s.
Nice lap time there for him. Giorgio Mangano, the last driver then in this first group as he comes to the line. What can he do? It's third quickest head of the second row then for now, and our focus shifts over to the second group of drivers. So they let them out in groups of 8 essentially, and this is the second group of 8 drivers. Here is Patrick Blajan, then the Hungarian driver. Angel Enestrosa, we know he can be quick on his day, but can he pull it out of the bag in qualifying trim? I have to say, this Suzuki Vision Gran Turismo car looks absolutely spectacular around this Watkins Glen circuit.
Yeah, it looks like a nice mix between a summer car and a performance car, doesn't it? Oh, there's nothing like racing with the top down, I think. But yeah, cool to see yet another Vision GT car added to the roster. I like seeing these manufacturers sort of just going, we'll design what we like and throw it in the game. It's nice to see that creativity on display.
Yeah, for designers, it is brilliant for them to have that freedom as well. There's so many constraints in the real world that they have to adhere to. So to be able to just go a little bit mad every now and then is something that I am certain that they enjoy. Here is Jose Serrano then. The Spaniard has been really quick and nipping at the heels of his countrymen over the last couple of years, Coque Lopez. And likewise, this man here, Valerio Gallo, also very quick as well. Of course, the reigning champion. What is he going to be able to do? Let's see what these lap times are going to be like then. So Lucas Benelli a little bit wide there on the exit of the hairpin, but it's relatively strong out of that corner. I wonder if he's going to be able to take the charge as we get Blajan out of the final corner and across the line here.
I think this is going to be Patrick Blajan's first lap. It is. Comes across the start-finish line. Where does he go? Not bad. P2 there for Blajan. Sort of a return to form over the course of last year. I wonder if he can carry that now into 2022. Angel Enestrosa half a second down at the last split though, so not going to be a great time for him. Goes P6 for now with a 42.4. Here's Hernandez, who was very, very strong last year towards the end of the series. Let's see what he can do.
Over the timeline he comes. It's half a second back. It's only 9th quickest. So that just goes to show how big the difference is in gaps. Lucas Benelli goes up into second place though. So it's an all Brazilian front row as it stands. Great lap time then from Lucas Benelli. What about Jose Serrano? A couple of tenths of a second down. It's only 9th quickest. Drops down to the outside then of the 4th row of the grid. What about Baptiste Beauvoir? A tenth of a second back as he comes to the line. Beauvoir, and it's 3rd quickest then for him. A tenth of a second away.
So let's see what our big guns can do. Takuma Miyazono, he's currently 4 tenths down, so it's not going to be a pole slot here for Miyazono. In fact, right in the middle. It's the second time in 2 days we've seen poor qualifying from him. Meanwhile, Valerio Gallo way off the pace. He's made a mistake somewhere, a second down. So our 2 big hitters both absolutely nowhere. In fact, Gallo goes 14th. Look how mad he is there. He's not happy with that result.
No, Gallo definitely made a mistake then on his flying lap. Here are the final qualifying results then. So it is an all-Brazilian front row for the First Nations Cup race of the Gran Turismo World Series in 2022. Fraga heads Benelli from Beauvoir and Blajan on row 2. Row 3 will be Kawakami and Mangano, then McEwen and Miyazono, Enestrosa and Lopez completing the top 10 with Serrano, Kokubun, Hernandez, Gallo down there in 14th place after what we can only assume was a mistake on his final flying lap ahead of Brooks, and Lee completing the 16 driver strong grid. Well, don't forget, of course, you can find out everything about Gran Turismo 7 and the Gran Turismo World Series on gran-turismo.com. And you can also follow us on the usual social channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, where you can also vote for your Michelin Driver of the Day.
And you'll also find details of our new Predictor game. So if you want to try and predict who the winners will be in the Showdown event at Salzburg next week, you can enter via the in-game news section or the banner on the GT7 World map for a chance to win some in-game credits. So best of luck.
The grid then is formed for the first time in 2022 for the Gran Turismo World Series. An all-Brazilian front row sees the field head down towards the first corner, but who is going to be claiming the checkered flag in 15 laps time? We're about to find out. It's the 2018 champion Igor Fraga who starts on pole position with his countryman Lucas Benelli alongside him. Row 2, Baptiste Beauvoir, the Frenchman. And he has got Patrick Blajan, the Hungarian, for company alongside him. Next up, Kanata Kawakami, the first of our Japanese drivers, lining up fifth on the grid with Giorgio Mangano on the outside of row 3. Then Matt McEwen on the next row of the grid in 7th with Takuma Miyazona, the 2020 champion, alongside. Inside the top 10 just is Angel Inestrosa from Chile and Coque Lopez, the Spaniard, completing that top 10 with Jose Serrano, his compatriot, just outside with Ryota Kokoban alongside him on the next row. Juan Hernandez, the Guatemalan driver, lines up P13 with Valerio Gallo. A mistake on his qualifying lap, putting him 14th on the grid. Andrew Brooks, the Canadian driver, completes his lap in 15th place, and he lines up with Andrew Lee for company alongside. So you can see the tyre graphic on the left-hand side of the screen, but we're now racing for the 5 red lights to come on. Round 1 for the Gran Turismo World Series Nations Cup. Lights out and we go racing then. Good start from Fraga. Great start though from Lucas Benelli as they go side by side down to the first corner. Keep an eye out for Blajan versus Beauvoir on the second row of the grid. Down towards T1 though, it's Benelli who takes the lead away from Igor Fraga, from Patrick Blajan, from Baptiste Beauvoir. Then comes Matt McEwen, who's going side by side here with Kanata Kawakami into the left-hander. McEwen just about managing to keep it ahead of the Japanese driver. On the run-up towards the hill we go. There's already been a penalty there handed to Jose Serrano down in 13th place, who's dropped back from his 11th starting position. And here comes Patrick Blajan down the straight in towards the bus stop. He's got Baptiste Beauvoir alongside him for company. Beauvoir tries to get a long way around the outside into the braking zone and manages to make it stick through into third.
Yeah, really nice move there, and Blajan sideways into the barrier there, and now holding up the cars behind, so just a little bit on exit there, just having picked up the throttle a bit too violently and had a little bit of a slide. We'll have to see if we can get a replay of that at some point, but that has given a little bit of a gap to the front 4. Now Igor Fraga, I think that hard tire was really hard getting away from the line now as McEwen looks around the outside of Beauvoir. It's forced onto the grass by the Frenchman. Things getting really rough at the front already, and Beauvoir definitely with his elbows out. McEwen there sitting behind someone else with a really good run of form at the end of 2021. So let's see if he can continue that now. Beauvoir looking up the inside of Fraga, using that tyre advantage. Through he goes with McEwen following through as well. He might do. He's going to be on the outside here though for the left hand. You don't really want to be here. It's quite difficult. He's going to send it into that soft tyre onto the marbles though, and he can't quite get that to stick.
Nice opportunist driving, at least from Matt McEwen. Needs to keep an eye on his mirrors though, because Patrick Blajan, who starts on that second row of the grid, is not too far away. So this is going to be really exciting to see how it all plays out here. Andrew Leeks made an absolute stonker of a start. He was right at the back of the grid. He's going to P6 on the first lap. So that soft tyre working well for him. I wonder if he made advantage whilst that first corner incident was going on, which we saw under investigation, as Blajan goes over to P4 at the start of lap 2.
Well, let's see a replay of what went on. So we're on board right now. I think this is with Miyazona.
Lopez failed to get away. I think he might have stalled on the line, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's really easy to do that here. I mean, it's a standing start, of course, so it's quite easy for the car to bog down. It's in the middle here. There's contact everywhere. It was Kokiban fired into the wall there, and Gallo was involved as well. So, yeah, that's interesting.
I think it was Gallo that was late on the brakes, and he then collided with the rest of the car. So I wonder whether Gallo, just trying to make up ground from 14th on the grid, bit too late on the brakes, straight to the scene of the crash, and that caused the concertina effect that we saw.
But Brooks has got the penalty there, so it might have been him. It would have been better to have maybe a more advantageous camera angle there instead of whiplash cam. But yeah, well, we'll try and make what we can of it. So we're on board with McEwen now. He's harrying Baptiste Beauvoir. Bear in mind, Beauvoir's at a tyre disadvantage on that medium compound. He's doing a good job hanging up here in second place, and McEwen's not really managing to find a way by. But look at you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of our screen there in the mirror, that's Patrick Blajan, who had a little bit of drama at the first corner, but he's back for more. And that drama was, of course, with Baptiste Beauvoir. So I think maybe looking to try and get square there with the Frenchman, who's currently being defended kind of by McEwen in front. But at the front of the field, Benelli, though, making the best advantage of this. Well, these guys are squabbling. He's got 3 seconds on the field at the moment, which is really nice of him. But again, Andrew Lee there in 5th. What a start from him. He started in pretty much last place, 16th, up to P5. I think, as you say, he did manage sort of to thread the needle at the start and just get through unhindered. But a great start there from the Australian.
A bit Esteban Ocon-esque at Hungary, wasn't it, where the sea sort of passed it away, and he managed to take advantage there for Andrew Lee. So good start then on the opening few laps for him. Just a reminder, there are 3 tyre compounds here for the drivers, the hards, mediums and softs, and they must make at least 1 pit stop in this race. It'll be interesting to see how it all works out once the strategies begin to come into play. Those who are on the soft tyres there, they will wear out quicker than the medium and the hard tyres, for example. So that's where we should see things starting to take place. Here is Matt McEwen, though, on the soft tyres against the medium shod Baptiste Beauvoir. They run side by side on the run down into the bus stop. He's going to be later on the brakes. Here is Matt McEwen. Can he outbrake Beauvoir? Yes, he can. Really deep on the ragged edge of adhesion there. Runs it a bit deep into the second part of it. Off onto the grass. That's going to allow Blajan to come through. Bit of contact as Blajan comes up the inside, and Andrew Lee is ready to try and join the party there as well. Half-second penalty for track limits there for Matt McEwen to compound his woes. Into the left-hander, Lee has a half look up the inside of McEwen, isn't quite able to make it stick, but he gets it sideways, does McEwen. That's going to allow an opportunity for Lee. More contact there, and it's gone from bad to worse for Matt McEwen. Half-second penalty, and he's getting in the way of absolutely everybody now.
He had an accident for about 10 seconds there. That was all over the place. I'd argue that the 0.5 second penalty is a bit harsh, given that I think he lost time himself sliding, but the rules are rules outside the circuit, and that's that. He put himself there, but the way he threw that into the corner, you just know straight away from the attitude of the car going in there, it's not going to stick. He's just carried far too much speed into the corner. It was a good attempt, but look what that's done. He's gone from fighting to second, now down to 7th place. And also some questionable sort of rejoins in there as well whilst trying to gather the thing up. So, maybe just not quite used to running at the front as McEwen.
Patrick Blajan now right on the rear wing of Baptiste Beauvoir as a result of all of that. So Blajan there, he's always got a pretty serious expression on his face. He's on the soft tyre compared to Beauvoir being on the medium, so if he does have an opportunity, it should be relatively straightforward for him to find his way through, because of course he has more grip under braking, mid-corner and on the exit, all the places where Beauvoir is going to struggle up the run through the hill. We saw this yesterday in the Manufacturers' Cup. This was the prime overtaking opportunity. If you get a strong run through here, you can launch something through. Beauvoir knows that. Don't think he's trying to fight it too much.
I'm really interested to see how this race unfolds, because of course we're in Gran Turismo 7 now, where we're in a completely different game, different physics. The tyres handle differently to they did before. The aeros, everything's different. As Patrick Blajan discovers, the rally physics aren't too great as he goes across the inside there and slides. Gets the tyre, just about managed to pick it up there. And again, picks up a 0.5. I don't like that penalty. I think like you've had an issue. You've lost time. The 0.5 second penalty is kind of irrelevant. But again, rules are rules. And the tyres, I think you go off and they pick up so much dirt that you can. We saw it happen with McEwen as well. You come down the hill and you can't quite gather it back up again. So the same happened to Patrick Blajan trying to get past Beauvoir. So Beauvoir proving quite difficult to pass.
2-second penalty for Valerio Gallo. I think that is due to the first corner incident there. So Gallo deemed to be at fault. Maybe we just didn't see what we saw from that onboard camera, and Gallo has been deemed to be the perpetrator of that accident. A 2-second penalty. He's down in 9th place. So once he has served that penalty, which will be at the next zone, he'll drop down behind Jose Serrano, and that just... that compounds what's been a difficult qualifying into an even more difficult race here for the Italian. Not the way he would have wanted to start 2022.
You always say you're only as good as your last race, and his last race for us was when he became the Nations Cup champ. And now here he is with a 2-second penalty in 9th place, struggling. So maybe we didn't see him yesterday in the Manufacturers' Cup. So maybe he's struggling to adapt to this new set of physics.
First pit stop in the way then, that is Matt McEwen. So he is in the lower part of the top 10 and goes from the softs to the hard compound of tyres. As we look here at Takuma Miyazono, he's on the medium tyres compared to Igor Fraga on the hard, so of course has that tyre advantage. We know Takuma is a quick driver, 2020 Nations Cup champion as well, did the Triple Crown in 2020, let's not forget as well, winning the manufacturers championship for Subaru as well, and of course doing some great things elsewhere. And look at him there on the brakes into this bush stop chicane. Look at how much more grip. That just goes to show the difference in tyres here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long this hard tyre will go for and what the advantage is like. Because last year, the whole sort of mess was that the hard tyre was lava. You know, you get off it as soon as you can because it just wasn't worth running at all. But we're seeing in this race, and bear in mind, these guys get a little bit of practice for this, but people are opting to use the hard tyre for longer. So maybe there's actually a bit of speed to it now. And compared to that, I mean, Miyazono, while he's on the back of Fraga, he's not just driving by him like he would have done in GT Sport.
No, absolutely not. The team at Polyphony have been remodelling the tyres for GT7, and basically the soft now wears a lot quicker. The hard is more durable but certainly more usable, and that's exactly what you're saying there, Jimmy. We're seeing that being used a lot more, so I would expect we'll see drivers on the soft tyres starting to fall towards the edge of the cliff now.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, obviously, sort of as a counter to that right now the fastest man on the track is Benelli, and he's on that soft tyre and has been since the start of the race, so let's hope that cliff is severe for the sake of everybody else. Now, as I say that, he comes into the pits, so maybe he heard me talking.
He clearly knows what you're talking about, doesn't he? So into the pits then comes Benelli. What tyre is he going to go for then? So he's on the soft tyres. He's put some fuel in, but we don't quite know what tyre compound he has put on at the moment. Gallo's also into the pit lane, and he goes medium to soft, as Benelli, Lee and Blajan all in the pit. So that kind of shakes up the order in the upper half of the top 10. Gallo's going to emerge on the soft compound of tyres. So what he needs really is the field to be kind of bunched up ahead of him so he can take advantage, make hay while the sun shines on that soft tyre, and hard tyre then, as you say there, for Benelli.
Yeah, so most of the field now are on a harder compound of tyre at this point, so it'll be fairly even in the sense of on-track fights. Everyone's sort of even playing field. Here's Andrew Brooks, you see in the background. You can see how bad Brooks' race is going, where Benelli, he's made a stop, is out ahead of him. That must be really hard for Andrew Brooks to see there. I'm unsure if he got caught up in that first corner, those first corner shenanigans. If anyone's going to get caught up, it's going to be Andrew Brooks.
He is the most unlucky driver we've ever met, and we mean that with the most sincere amount of love as well, because we think Andrew Brooks is a brilliant competitor, a fantastic driver, but he does always seem to be on the wrong end of the stick, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to be. And unfortunately, it's Andrew Brooks most of the time. But back to the action on circuit now with Benelli in front of Brooks, of course, and managing to keep the Canadian behind, as you would expect him to do on that newer set of hard compounded tyres. But see, the difference isn't too much. Like, the wear isn't as bad. All right, Baptiste, he's having a bit of fun out there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really putting the hammer down. He was half a second quicker than Igor Fraga. Of course, there is a tyre difference. Fraga's on the hards, Baptiste is on the mediums, but Baptiste is looking really comfortable out there. And the thing is, when you're leading from the front, I imagine when you're as competitive and as an experienced a driver as Baptiste, this is the perfect scenario for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to a podcast recently which sort of summed up the attitude you need to be leading a race and going quick perfectly. So you need to drive at 100%, but at 95% safety. So you need to be going as quick as you can, but always having that little bit left in reserve. So seeing him sideways coming out of that left-hander half a lap ago isn't really what you want to be doing. You want to be controlled. He's not under pressure right now. Use this time to solidify where you are on circuit, and don't hurt the tyres too much. And that is something that I'm not used to seeing, a blue flag coming out for Valerio Gallo. But there's no one behind him, but still that must be a very weird sight for Valerio.
Yeah, it has been a dog's weekend so far in the Nations Cup for the Italian driver, and what he really needed whilst he was on the soft tyre was the rest of the field to kind of be closed up and try and take advantage, get some positions back while he could. The problem is he was 2 seconds off the back of Cockburn once he came out of the pits. He's managed to make up 8/10 over that last lap. He's lapping significantly faster, but it's difficult, isn't it? Because the best he can do now is damage limitation. There's only points available for the top 3 drivers. Let's not forget, going into the World Series showdown, and unless a minor miracle happens for Valerio Gallo, he's not going to be taking home any of those points.
Yeah, it's a shame for him, but of course, if we know with Valerio, he'll always come back stronger, as he always does. We go on board now, though, to Jose Serrano, the Spaniard, currently in 5th position, yet to make a stop. The well, still a lot of the field yet to stop actually at this point. They're all going along on that hard compound of tyres. Baptiste is still on the medium. Will he come in this lap? No, I don't think he will do. You have to make your intention quite clearly known there. But you can see really not much margin for error. Really running it to the wall there, which you're allowed to do. So of course, if you're going to pay to use all the racetrack, you need to go and actually use all the racetrack. So get out there, touch the wall, maybe lose a mirror or two, but that's about it. Continue from there. That is the gap though, and that has come down.
Yeah, Fraga was faster last time around, so I think those medium tyres are starting to come towards the end of their shelf life. Last time around, Beauvoir a 46.1, Fraga a 45.2.
So he should have pitted that lap. Like he should have been in that lap, the lap we just gone through. He should have came in, because now all he's going to do is lose time if that's the case. Meanwhile, Kanata Kawakami, right on the back of Coco Lopez, having to actually lift to get the better run here coming into the bus stop. We're going to try and go around the outside there as Coco Lopez squeezes us out. Lopez has got a tyre advantage here, but I'm not sure if that medium tyre is still running strong. We've seen Beauvoir have problems. Lopez now is the one holding up the train as Benelli gets involved as well. Benelli, of course, has pitted, so he needs to get by these guys as quick as possible for the sake of this race. All the time he spends here fighting with Kawakami and Lopez is going to hurt him later on.
Benelli's hunkered down into that seat. He always seems to have a very unique driving style. He sends it up the inside, bit of contact there, a bit robust from Lucas Benelli. We're used to seeing that, I should say. He's not afraid of getting his elbows out, is the Brazilian driver. He goes up into 9th place. His next target will be Coco Lopez. You can see him there feathering the throttle, trying to find the optimum amount of time to get onto the power. No further action between Hernandez and Inestrosa after the incident was under investigation. But Lopez, he's a bit of a sitting duck now. He needs to pit. He should have pitted last time around. And you can see him there running a little bit wide into that hairpin. That's going to now Benelli up the inside. Traction will be with Benelli, and it is indeed up into 8th place for the Brazilian.
Someone's knocked down one of our boards as well. That's very rude of them. I'll have to go pick that up after the race. But here we are. Baptiste Beauvoir coming under that medium tyre, going into the soft tyre. This should have happened last lap, Baptiste. I think you've lost a bit too much time doing this. I'll be interested to see where he comes out in relation to everybody else. So here is Benelli, of course. Benelli was a fair chunk ahead of Beauvoir before they came into the pits, about 4 seconds there. You can see him almost winning the car. A little shake of the head there from Benelli, maybe a little bit upset with the time he lost in traffic. We can tell you how much he lost if you look at the laps here. Where is it? I've lost him. There he is. It did a 46 last lap, 46.7, which is very slow, about a second and a half of the pace. Actually, it's fighting. There is Beauvoir, so he has come out ahead, but the gap has come down, I think. Well, actually, no, saying that, I think that Baptiste has sort of shot himself in the foot a little bit by staying out for so long. If anything, Igor Fraga's now looking quite competitive.
Well, hindsight's a wonderful thing. It's always easy to say that, oh yeah, he should have done this, he should have done that. This is their first time in these circumstances on Gran Turismo 7. Different physics, different tyre model for them to get used to. And, of course, it's going to be a challenge. You might not always make the calls right, and these mistakes might happen early on in the championship before they've got to grips with it.
You know what I got to say to that? Get good, mate. Cope. get better at the game.
No sympathy from Jimmy Broadbent, continuing on.
I mean, you are right. You are correct in saying that. It is a difficult transition, especially if these guys did thousands of laps in GT Sport, and GT7's a whole different beast. So obviously there are things you can carry over, and there are things you can't carry over, and everyone's sort of discovering that at the moment.
Kawakami and Benelli under investigation. We just saw a graphic flash up on your screen. That is because, of course, Benelli ploughed into the back of Kawakami. Didn't cost him too much, other than, I'm sure, a little bit of pride damage for Kawakami. But either way, Benelli's been given a 1 second penalty for colliding with another car as the race leader Fraga into the pits for the mediums.
We saw that coming. It was a certified Benelli moment where he just chucks it in, bashes the guy out of the way, and I think that's a fair penalty.
Yeah, 1 second is the penalty that he has been awarded.
He does not agree, though. He does not agree. Just a little bit of gesticulation there from the Brazilian. So, mate, you play silly games, you get silly prizes.
Well, either way, he now sits with a 3.5 second cushion over Baptiste Beauvoir. Beauvoir, of course, is on the soft compound tyres, whereas Benelli is on the slowest, on the hard tyres. Just a reminder, of course, there are 3 tyre compounds available for the drivers, hards, mediums and softs, and they must use at least 2 of those during the race. Pretty much everybody who started on the softs or the mediums has made their one and only pit stop here so far. Here's Valerio Gallo trying to recover something from this race. He goes side by side with Patrick Blajan down into the bus stop. Gallo's on the soft tyres. Look at the confidence he's got under braking as he goes through on the Hungarian driver into 6th place. Blajan on the slower compound, the hard compound of tyres, just got no answer to that.
That was a swipe. that is Valerio Gallo waking up and saying, yeah, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. Get out of my way. I am on the charge. And through he goes past Bajan, now in pursuit of Beauvoir. Now, of course, Benelli's got a penalty as well. There's a bit of a gap, though, between Beauvoir and the rest of the field, about 7 seconds. So Gallo's got it all to do as Bajan there corrects a bit of a slide coming out. So these guys are really on it. They're really pushing at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to see how this is going to play out then for Valerio Gallo. I wonder whether that soft tyre in the middle stint is going to work out for him. It's great that he's now caught up, but he's kind of going to be sat there in no man's land at the moment, and I wonder what it will mean for the final 4.5 laps of this race, whether his pace is going to fade once the last pit stops have taken place. Speaking of the pit stops as well, the last of the drivers who have not made their pit stops, Serrano, Mangano, Inestrosa, all into the pits from the hards onto the soft compound of tyres. They shouldn't be needing to take any fuel in this race. It should all be about tyres, so relatively quick pit stops, and it looks like Baptiste Beauvoir is doing okay out there. His pace is pretty good, and is he going to emerge in the race lead? Well, he certainly is, with Benelli just behind.
Yes, that penalty really did hurt Benelli. Obviously, he was leading before, and now he's behind Baptiste Beauvoir. Interestingly, Valerio Gallo is now in third place and quite close to both of these. So you just see him just in the background there. So he's really turned this race around, and he does have the fastest lap too, does Valerio Gallo, 1:42.9, the only person to go anywhere near the 42s, or be in them, I should say, sorry. So, yeah, really impressive by him. So, definitely still one to watch, and I think this is why he's the 21 champ, isn't he?
I think that's great, but the thing is, he's going to get to the point now where those soft tyres are starting to wear out, and he's going to come under pressure from Fraga. Fraga's on the medium compound. They're a little bit more durable. He's going to have a bit more grip into the left-hander here. Gallo running a little bit hot into there. They're going to run side by side almost on the corner exit. Fraga goes on the outside line into the right-hander as Gallo tries to defend, but is it all going to be in vain as the two previous champions running very close to one another? Look at the traction on the exit that Fraga is able to get as he pushes Fraga onto the grass. There does Gallo into the right-hander, which follows. Gallo just defending everything he can, tries to get the switch back to Igor Fraga. Lots of traction on the exit, but not quite close enough at the moment to mount a challenge. Gallo placing that Suzuki in every possible position to try and hold on through that left-hander, but Fraga's got the outside line, he's got track position, and he does just about manage to get ahead for third, or does he? Because Gallo once again is still there on the inside, but Fraga eventually gets through. Gallo has to relent, drops down to fourth.
At that point, you sort of let the move go, but as you're saying, yeah, Gallo really struggling now because his lap time's dropped considerably last lap, and again driving Blajan to the wall, just giving him enough space to come back to take his line. So I think Gallo really on the edge of defending there and just getting it wrong on exit. There's contact between Miyazono and Blajan, and just like that, Miyazono, being in the right place, takes two positions at once from P6 up to P4. Gallo the big loser there down to P6, and Blajan, despite all the action, is just where he started.
Well, that was very much akin to Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. Through goes Lewis Hamilton into a couple of positions up. Miyazono doing exactly the same strat as Gallo tries to get ahead of Blajan into the bus stop chicane, parks his car on the apex. Blajan picking up a 1 second penalty there as well. So whether there was a bit of contact or not, I'm not sure. But either way, Blajan with that 1 second penalty, that's not good for the Hungarian driver, and he knows it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see what that penalty was for. I didn't see anything penalty-worthy there, but it might be something off-screen that we missed. And but yeah, I think I share Patrick's frustration there. It's been a difficult race for him. All he can really do now is go round as he gets very close to Gallo. Through he goes. I think the contact. I think it was a contact penalty where they were all messing about and he just got caught up in it, which. Yeah, not ideal.
Lost in two positions there, possibly here with Andrew Lee, I should say, trying to go through on the outside of Blajan. Blajan just about able to defend that now, but he's got a couple of hot-headed drivers very close behind with Andrew Lee and Giorgio Mangano. Mangano, who's on the soft tyre, but of course, very much, I imagine, like his countryman Gallo, they're going to be coming towards the end of their useful shelf life. We're coming right towards the business end of this race. And it's Juan Hernandez who we're looking at right on the back here of Valerio Gallo into the final corner. Gallo, we know that soft tyre is getting past its best, really sideways out of the final corner, and that allows Hernandez to go quite easily up into fifth place.
He needed to pit like 3 laps ago. I don't know why he's trying to stretch the soft tyre when the grip is plainly not there. Every corner he's fighting with it to the point where look, there's a train behind him now. He's gone from being the fastest guy on the track to being one of the slowest. His last lap was a 1:48. And that is about 3 seconds slower than anybody else.
Blažan really does know that as well, and is trying to make hay whilst the sun shines into the bus stop. He's going to have a lot more grip under braking. Can he go for the outside line? Keep an eye out in the background for Mangano as well. Side by side as they go through the bus stop then, and Blažan goes through. Gallo's out wide. Mangano goes through. Inestrosa and contact there, off into the wall. So Gallo then knows that. He slows up, lets Inestrosa through as Serrano comes on and joins the party there as well, as those two run side by side. So it's Inestrosa versus Serrano up ahead, but Gallo there, well, a simple mistake has cost not only him, but also another driver dear too.
Gallo is not driving like a champion right now. He's not thinking. I don't know what's going on. This is a rare off race for him, so hopefully he can reflect on this and think about what he's done wrong. But yeah, I mean, making moves where he knows the tyre isn't going to do it and it's going to cause contact. I mean, at some point you have to think about it. And unsurprisingly, there's under investigation.
Serrano's looking on the inside there as Andrew Lee just runs it a bit deep into the hairpin. Those two are 2 by 2 on the exit. Lee's got the inside line for the next corner, which might just give him a little bit of breathing room against the Spaniard, and indeed it does on the entry of the corner, but he's a bit wide on the exit. That allows Serrano to once again pull alongside him. The Spaniard is through up the inside and into 8th place, so nice move there from Serrano. Pretty clinical for him. He's on the soft compound of tyre. Don't forget, of course, those soft compound tyres will be coming right towards the end of their useful shelf life as we come in towards the final lap. We're getting really into the business end of this one, as Gallo does finally chuck those soft tyres, throw them into the bin, let him never see those again, because this race has gone from, well, bad to worse for Valerio, unfortunately, after that terrible last lap.
Yeah, he has himself to blame there, so we'll see if he can come back from that at all. But here is Baptiste Beauvoir, by contrast, having a pretty good race. He's been out front on the soft tyre, doing okay lap time, still in the 44s in this compound, so there's still a little bit of tyre life there. I've got to say, I do love how this soft tyre drops off. It's the first time I've experienced the soft tyre since in this scenario. Sort of on the comms here. It's great seeing that there is a limit. It doesn't just sort of go like it did before. Yeah, that's a huge credit to the team of Polyphony and also to Michelin as well. They've done a fantastic job of working collaboratively together to develop this new tyre model for Gran Turismo 7. It does make it a really exciting package for our drivers. Here then we sit with Igor Fraga on the medium tyres, his compatriot Lucas Bonelli just up ahead. So those two of course started this race on the front row together. It was Fraga ahead of Bonelli at the start of it. Coming towards the end of it, it is Fraga, the man who is chasing down Bonelli now, and the question is, will the opportunity present itself before the end of this race to try and get through into second place? I have to say though, just while we were talking about Baptiste Beauvoir, this is the Baptiste we're used to seeing of old. We saw this in 2020 where he was at some times untouchable. A few too many mistakes crept in. I wonder, with the advancement of time, whether he's just been able to mature as a driver, and now we're starting to see him just looking that bit more comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see him actually out there, comfortable and confident. And just notice that Gallo's still in the pits, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but obviously some sort of issue for Valerio Gallo. But back to this fight at the front, and also that I find interesting, just to sort of go on from that, talking about advancement, is that the strategy is so open in this race that the top three are currently all on different tyres. So everyone's trying something different, and it's all seemingly working in some way, which is what you like to see here. So our current race order, if we go on to the last lap, it's Beauvoir, Bonelli and Fraga. Beauvoir! Oh, we were just singing his praises, and he's thrown it away. What did he do? Must have made a mistake into that bus stop chicane, and that is such a shame for the Frenchman. So he has thrown this race away from certain victory. It seemed like he's gone off into the wall at the bus stop, and it's now Bonelli leading Fraga on the last lap. That is dramatic. Talk about commentator's curse there, and now Bonelli's having to defend from Fraga, who is a little bit quicker behind on that medium compound tyre. So it's the two Brazilians going toe-to-toe. Only a couple of corners left. Bonelli definitely has the advantage right now. He's got track position, but will the tyres last compared to Fraga? Coming towards the final sector then, so this is going to be really close between Fraga and Bonelli. We ride on board with the 2018 champion. Through the left-hander we go, flicking it up the gearbox. Needs a nice strong run through here. Bit of oversteer's not going to help his cause. And the thing is as well, we've only got a couple of corners left. So Bonelli, though he runs it a little bit too deep into that corner, he has got enough time in his pocket to hold on to this race lead. Out of the final corner and to the line, it is first blood in 2022. The World Series Nations Cup Round 1 race goes to Lucas Bonelli ahead of Igor Fraga. Takuma Miyazono completes the podium in third place.
place with Juan Hernandez, a great fourth position ahead of Giorgio Mangano, who just gets ahead of Jose Serrano, Blajan Beauvoir, Inestrosa and Andrew Lee completing the top 10. What a fantastic end to that race, dramatic right to the very end, and such a shame for Baptiste Beauvoir. Well, I imagine he is going to be bitterly disappointed with that one, compared to the elation, of course, of Lucas Bonelli. Final results, as you can see on your screen there. Bonelli takes top honours and 3 points into the showdown.
Yeah, that's. I would love to know what happened to Beauvoir there. I think he must have just looped it on the bus stop, must have thrown it around. So really disappointing for him, and also for Valerio Gallo as well. Not how the 2021 Nations Cup champ is going to want to start his campaign. But Bonelli, Fraga, Mirzono are top 3.
Well, let's have a look then, shall we, at the podium then after round 1 of the GT World Series. In third place, of course, it is Takuma Miyazono from Japan, a very strong driver from Takuma, and a great way to take a point into the World Series showdown. Second place for Igor Fraga from Brazil, the 2018 champion, finishing in second and taking those 2 points into the showdown at Salzburg. But the winner from Brazil, it is Lucas Bonelli. Top honours in the first round of the Gran Turismo World Series in 2022. A fantastic way to start his season.
Estou muito feliz, foi um grande resultado. Havia praticado não muito para essa etapa, mas é uma pista que a gente teve atualização no Gran Turismo recentemente. É uma pista que eu gostei muito. Falando mais sobre a corrida, fiz um bom qualifying, quase que uma volta de pole. A chicane, a buzz stop, era muito difícil você acertar em apenas uma tentativa. Não saiu muito bem no quali, mas na volta toda foi muito bem. E a corrida eu estava com uma estratégia muito boa, estava com um ritmo muito bom no pneu soft, pneu macio. E só que na estratégia eu acabei parando, colocando o pneu duro, acabei saindo no trânsito. O Kawakama acabou me deixando passar ali, mas eu não achei muito justo a penalidade de 1 segundo, porque eles sabiam que eu estava em outra estratégia com um pneu mais novo. E aí eu estava segurado na segunda posição, quando infelizmente, por causa dessa penalidade, acabei perdendo a primeira posição para o Baguette. E então é uma infelicidade para ele e uma sorte minha que veio no final, onde ele errou na última volta da chicane e acabei conseguindo a vitória. Para mim foi um excelente resultado. Com esse novo carro e essa nova pista ficou um combo muito, muito legal. A pista de Watkins Glen tem várias curvas de raio longo, onde você carrega bastante velocidade e ela é bem desafiadora. Estava com aquela motivação de assegurar a segunda posição. Eu sabia que o Igor estava em uma estratégia diferente, que ele estava de pneu macio, só que o pneu macio acabava muito rápido, né? Então se ele chegasse com o pneu novo era inevitável a ultrapassagem, mas com os pneus com um desgaste muito alto do pneu macio, já se equilibrava muito ao pneu duro, aí ficou mais fácil manter a posição. Estou muito ansioso para retornar os eventos ao vivo e não perco por esperar a hora de ir para a Áustria em julho, e no final de julho.
Many congratulations to Lucas Bonelli. The next round of the Gran Turismo World Series comes your way from Salzburg at the Red Bull Hangar 7 on the 30th and the 31st of July. See you then.